So today I'm going to do the first of 4 videos on the gases on a standard 4-gas alarm monitor for confined spaces. And today I'll tackle probably the most difficult one to explain, the LEL, or the lower explosive limit. This is calibrated for the gases that cause explosions and lower ranges, so like the likes of methane. So the range for this is around 4.7 being the lower explosive limit. We're going to say 5, so 5 to 15 being the range in any type of atmosphere or room or confined space. If you hit between 5 and 15%, you are in an explosive atmosphere and in real danger. Methane is lighter than air. You'll find it at the top of the room in the heavier concentrations at the top of the confined space. However, gases are chaotic. So you're going to find the gas at the lower level, in the medium level, and at the higher level. It's going to be all over the place. What this monitor measures is only the lower explosive limit. So it's measuring up to the lower explosive limit, which is 5%. So it's talking about the 0 to 5% part of the atmosphere, probably the height of your skirting board in your normal sitting room. And what it wants to do is it wants to get, it will go off when it reaches 20% of the lower limit. So 5 being the lower limit and 20% of 5 is 1. So 1% of the atmosphere, the total atmosphere, is going to set this monitor off. And it's going to start to sound for alarm. What this looks like on the monitor is the monitor will start to rise from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 20. And when you read it across the line, that will read 20% of the lower explosive limit. We already know the lower explosive limit is 5. We're at 20% of that, which is 1%. And it's in its first alarm. When it hits its high alarm, when it starts flashing HI, high, it will be at about 2.5% of the atmosphere, or 2.5% of the lower limit of the atmosphere. So it will be at 2.5% of 5, if that makes sense. So 5 being the lower limit, and when it hits 2.5%, it'll look like about 57% of the lower explosive limit. This one's set for 57. So when it hits 57% of the lower limit, it will just flash high, and you're in a really dangerous atmosphere then. So does that make sense? So what we're talking about is this monitor measures up to the lower explosive limit, so up to the 5%. When it hits 20% of the 5%, we're at 1% of the atmosphere, which on this monitor looks like 20% of the lower limit. That will set the alarm off. When it gets to 7% of the lower limit, it will be at its extreme high level, and it will be flashing as high alarm, high alarm, high alarm, high alarm. And what it means in actual fact is that we are at about 2.5% of the total atmosphere. So we're halfway towards being in the lower explosive limit. You need to be out there. There's no breathing apparatus. There's no escape set. It's going to protect you from an explosion. It will protect you from the gases, but it won't protect you from an explosion. So that's lower explosive limits explained. It's a little bit messy, but that's kind of what it is.